Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I want to talk about a potential secret weapon that the Washington Commanders could have for the rest of the season and maybe for the future. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well so you never miss a video. So yes, I am talking about Treyon Burks, and no, I'm not saying that Burks is going to be the reason the Commanders go ahead and beat the Lions and then the Dolphins and then go on a crazy playoff run. No, that is not what I am saying. All I'm saying is I think the Commanders potentially found something in Treyon Burks, and I think he could be a part of the future here in DC. Obviously, it's very early. He's been here for a few weeks. He only played in one game, and in that game, he didn't get a lot of opportunities. He had one catch. I thought it was a pretty good catch, sideline catch. He showed, part of the reason he got drafted in the first round and had some good blocking as well. So now, another week, you don't have Terry. Luke McCaffrey's out. Let's see what he can do in another week in this offense. And I want to see, 3+ targets for Treyon Burks this week against the Detroit Lions. I want to see what he can do because the Commanders are in desperate need of a young receiver to step up. Because right now, they have Terry McLaurin, who's not playing. So he's not really, I'm not really counting him. Noah Brown, forget about him. Debo's fine, but he's still playing a little bit hurt, and he's not a number one. And then you got Jalen Lane, who hasn't really showed much. And, he showed flashes, but he's also, his ups have been decent, his downs have been pretty bad. And Luke McCaffrey has shown some things, but he's injured for the rest of the year, probably out. So, Treyon Burks is a guy that maybe could be the missing piece, one of the missing pieces, because they're not one piece away. They're, multiple pieces away. But Treyon Burks, if he can be, I'm not saying what the Titans wanted him to be when they drafted him, but if he could be like 80% of that, get you 800, 850 yards, a couple years down the line, then that would be good. He's talented. There was a reason he was drafted in the first round of the draft. What was that? Was that 2021? No, 2022. That was a Jahan Dotson year. So, and it wasn't like a super crazy reach. He was projected to go in the first round. It just didn't work out. The biggest thing with him is injuries, and this team has dealt with a lot of injuries this year. So I'm hoping he's able to stay healthy and have a successful rest of the season for the Washington Commanders, because he's one of the guys I'm looking for. There's going to be a bunch of different young guys that I'm watching for the Commanders to see, if they're able to, ball out. Ben Sinnott, let's see. Not even ball out. Let's see what they have in him. Ben Sinnott, Treyon Burks, Jalen Lane for sure. Ja'Cory Brooks, if they're able to bring him on the active roster. And then, Bill Krosky-Merritt, he's another guy that I want to see play a little bit better. And then on defense, guys like Jordan McGee, and then continue to see Trey Amos, Mikey Sainristil, those guys play a little bit more, and then Johnny Newton as well. So there's a lot of young guys. I think that's what the rest of the season is about, and I know they're obviously going to say they're trying to win, and sure, whatever, that makes sense, but they're not winning any games. They're not winning any meaningful games this year. I think people are saying because I might make a separate video about this, but the Jaden news, right? He might come back in a few weeks. Well, here's the thing. They're 3-6. If they lose tomorrow, even if they win, guys, and they get somehow after the Dolphins game, they get one game below 500, the reality of the situation is the NFC is so stacked this year that they would probably have to win 10, most likely 11 games to make the playoffs. And that's not happening, guys. They would have to win out, I believe. They would have to win out to do that. So playoffs are not in the cards here. I'm sorry, some people with Jaden coming back, they're like, we might be able to make the playoffs. But guys, it's not happening, man. It's not happening. And even with all of Jaden's magic, they can't make the playoffs unless something crazy happens, and that's winning out. And then you see here Treyon Burks catch. I'm not going to show it just because of copyright issues, but it was a tough catch. It was a nice catch, on the sideline right there, getting both feet in bounds, and that was thrown by Jaden. So this week, I would say not expectations, but goals would be, 2 or 3 catches, 30 plus yards for Treyon Burks in his second game active on game day would be a really good achievement by him. And then it's just, getting more and more comfortable in the offense. You play that Miami game, and hopefully it's decent, and then you got a bye week, and then that's when you really want to see him get a little bit more involved is, after that bye week. But real quick, a word from today's sponsor. And a huge shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring today's video. Make sure you guys check them out. The latest sports news. They got fantasy sports on there as well, football and basketball and others. And also, you can win real money making picks on Sleeper. My Thursday night play did not work out too well. Unfortunately, Brock Bowers did end up selling there, and I believe there was one more. And Bo Nix, I don't think got over. Yeah, he didn't get over 1.5 passing touchdowns. But on to the next. But use promo code Pedro on Sleeper and get a 100% match up to $100. Link in the description. Terms and conditions apply. There's also a $20 free entry play as well that you guys can be a part of. Alrighty, and again, a huge shout out to Sleeper there. So let's go over just a few, stats so you guys can get a little bit of background on Treyon Burks. 2022, 11 games, 444 yards. I mean, the story of his career, man. Like he was never. It's not like he was ever a great player when he was in the NFL, but the problem was he just so many injuries, and with those injuries, obviously impacts your play, but then also just, you're in and out of the lineup so much, it makes it harder for you to get a hang of things, and then also the quarterback and the other players to get a hang of things as well with you. But his rookie year was decent. I mean, he averaged 40 yards a game. It's not bad for a rookie. He plays 17 games. He probably gets you around 750 yards, 700 yards as a rookie. 2023, 11 games, and then ends up 221 yards, a much worse season there. 2024, only 5 games. And then this year for the Commanders, 1 game, 1 target, 1 catch, 14 yards, and a first down. So, not a lot from him. Again, it's just been a lot of injuries by him, and it really is unfortunate. But I know I think he tore his ACL, at least 1 concussion, maybe 2, broken collarbone. I mean, it's just been a lot of injuries for him, which is unfortunate. So the biggest key with him is being healthy, and he's going to get opportunities, man. Terry's not coming back, I would say, anytime soon. I mean, maybe after the Dolphins game, which, you still got this Lions game and then the Dolphins game. So that's another 2 weeks of him getting, PT and showing that he's worth it, and, winning some targets basically, and winning a share of this offense when Terry comes back. Luke's going to be out. So, I mean, really, it's going to be Debo and then Jalen Lane, Chris Moore. Like, he's not competing with studs. Maybe Jalen Lane will be one eventually, but right now he's not. So he's not competing with studs, with dudes. So he can win those targets. And when Terry's back, maybe he is wide receiver 3. Speaking of Treyon Burks, of course, not Terry. So that would be the goal for him. So this week, make a couple big plays. Week after that, maybe some more. And then after the bye, maybe when Terry's back is when he really starts putting it on. And, hey, maybe by the end of the season, you found yourself something in Treyon Burks for the future. And even in these games, helping them find a way to win some of these games with, his abilities, because he can do a little bit of everything, and he can break some tackles, stuff like that. So definitely excited to see what he could do. He's a good blocker as well, so might be able to help them in the run game. So we'll have to see with Treyon Burks, but he's a guy I'm excited to see this week against the Detroit Lions. Revenge game for them. I know they're going to be hyped for this game. And one guy I forgot to mention as one of the young guys, Cam Madrano too. We'll see if he gets some PT. I don't know. We'll see. Alekaho too. But one of those will probably be active. I would doubt both of them will. Jordan McGee will probably continue to get a lot of playing time, and that's fine by me. But that is it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys new. Peace.